What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And remember when I told you that Call of Duty isn't really played on Steam that much? Well, it turns out I was right, because I did a little bit of fact-checking, and I found out that Call of Duty was the most played game on Xbox in November, and it was actually second on PlayStation. So all these rage baiters like Blame Truth and Foley and all these other homos here on this platform that just make the same videos of, Call of Duty's dead, or oh, Battlefield 6 just sharded all over Call of Duty. It's like, yeah, dude, not quite, because that might be true for PC. Oh, yeah, on Steam the numbers do suck. There's only like, what, 60,000 players on the Steam version? That's because people don't play COD on Steam. They play on Battle.net and they play on console. And the Battle.net numbers, there is no numbers, just like on console, there's no actual physical numbers, but it will show you what the most played games are. If it's the most played games, that means that a lot of people bought it, or they're at least playing it through Game Pass, which, whether or not that really counts as buying the game or not, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I don't have console, so I don't really know how Game Pass works. I've never had Game Pass. But regardless, whether they are, going out and buying the $70 copy or they're playing it through Game Pass, it is still one of the most played games. And what's the excuse going to be from them this time, if they do see that? Oh, well, that's because November was the launch month. That's going to die down over time. But it never does. It never does. Because Call of Duty is still one of the most popular FPS games because, like I said, it's between that and Battlefield. You're going to take your pick, whichever one you like the most is going to be the one that you play. So to say that Battlefield 6 is taking a shit all over COD is not true. Because all these guys do is look at the Steam numbers, which is a platform that literally nobody uses for Call of Duty. That's been proven. It actually says that when you look it up online and say, what's the most preferred platform for Call of Duty? If you word it that way, it's going to show you console. If you say, what's the most preferred platform on PC, it's going to show you Battle.net. Okay, because what it's doing is it is looking through different sources to figure out where the most played players are, and it's always showing those two options. Steam is never that. I've known that about Steam since I was younger, like I mentioned in one of my older videos. When I first switched to PC, it was probably late 2017, maybe early 2018. At the time I was looking to play custom zombies maps, so I did switch over to PC. And basically everybody told me, don't play the multiplayer if you buy a, COD game on Steam. It sucks, it's filled with hackers. I already went through all that. That's common knowledge to anybody that actually knows anything about PC. Now, of course, with the modern games, it's a little bit different because you could run into hackers anywhere due to the fact that it is crossplay. But Black Ops 7 doesn't really have that problem. I've not seen a lot of cheaters and stuff. But what I can tell you is this whole thing about it being dead isn't really true. I don't think it's sold the best, but that's because people are playing it on Game Pass. You have to realize when somebody puts a game on Game Pass, why is somebody going to spend $70 when they could just buy Game Pass for like $10 a month and just play it on there and just keep that subscription and play a bunch of other games too? It doesn't really make a lot of sense why somebody would spend $70 on it, if they could do that. But to say that it's dead, all based off Steam numbers, isn't true. I mean, there is a stat that shows, Black Ops 7, the sales were lower than Black Ops 6. It shows, like, about 50% lower, which isn't very good. But like I said, you have to factor in that Game Pass thing when you're really looking at sales. And the problem with all of this information is that there's no true numbers, okay? Like I mentioned in my last video, and I want to talk about this a little more, because I think the younger generation, especially those who, grew up with later consoles like Xbox One and PS4, they don't know about this, alright? Back in the Xbox 360, PS3 days, especially for old COD games, or really any game that was online, you were able to see how many players were on that game at any given time. That's why you didn't have these rage baiters on this platform that would say, this game's dead. Nobody's playing it. It sucks. Because it always showed you how many people were on that game. And the same was for playlists, whether it was TDM or free-for-all or search. You always knew, every time you got on there, how many people were actually playing it. And those numbers did correlate between, the games, between the platforms. They actually did correlate. Whereas nowadays, they really don't. Because that whole, there's only 60-some thousand on Steam, means there's only 60,000 on each console platform, is not accurate whatsoever. Because you have to look at how many people are actually playing it on, console, and there's no numbers for it, but it always shows up in the spot for, first or second most played games of every month. I guarantee you if we go back and check this 3 months from now, it's still going to be in the top 3 or 4, because it always is. It always is. Even Black Ops 6, which got a lot of hate too, it was still up in there. It was in the top 4 almost every time. Even when Battlefield 6 launched. So that whole thing that they're trying to tell you, all that manipulation that they're doing just to get clicks on this platform, it's complete bullshit. And anybody that sits around and watches that stuff and says, I'm not going to play this game or I'm not going to buy this game because so-and-so online said the game sucks, that doesn't matter, dude. What people think online means absolutely nothing. If you're basing your opinion on a game based off what somebody else says, then you're not even a true gamer. You're a poser, is what you are. You're just dick-riding all these people that say the same shit, and they're just doing it so they can get more likes and, of course, more ad revenue and money for their videos. That's the only reason they do it. It's rage bait. It is not honesty. They don't research anything. They just see a low player count on a platform that nobody uses for COD, and then they put that out there and say, well, the game's dead. It's obvious that it's dead because, and they always pull up that shitty-ass Steam chart. That's all they do. It's the same video every single time, or they find tweets, or they find Reddit posts. I've seen that excuse too. There's only, 200 people on the Black Ops 6 subreddit. That's what they used to say during BO6. There's no one even talking about this game, bro. They're going to do the same thing with Black Ops 7. They're going to go to the Reddit forum and stuff like that and be like, oh, look, bro, there's nobody in there. The game is dead. It's so stupid. And people sit around and watch this content. That's what I find surprising. Like, you hate a game that bad that you are okay with being lied to by some dork that probably sits in his mom's basement or in, Blame Truth's case, drives a fucking Subaru like a gay lesbian and promotes hair growth products and all this other bullshit sponsors he puts in his videos. You hate a game that bad that you're going to watch people like this rather than go out there and play the game and try it for yourself. Like I said, people were hating on it, and when I played the beta for the first time, I was like, dude, this isn't even that bad. Like, where's all the hate coming from? It felt better than Black Ops 6, because I played the beta for Black Ops 6 too. There were people that tried saying, oh, well, you didn't buy the game, so that means you didn't play it. No, I did. I played the beta, and the funny thing about betas is it basically is the full game. When they're saying, oh, you get to try the beta, that's literally like trying out a demo from back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember that. Another Xbox 360 thing, and probably even before that. If you wanted to see what a game was like, certain games would let you try a demo version of the game for free. That's basically what a beta is. Not much changes, maybe some things with the servers and all that, because there were people saying that they thought the skill-based matchmaking was more intense in the final product than the beta. And whether or not that's actually true, who knows? that would be based off personal experience. Obviously, if you have a super high KD, yeah, it's going to continue to match you with higher skilled players. That's how pretty much every single FPS game is working right now. There's skill-based matchmaking in Battlefield 6, but nobody will talk about it, because I've seen people play it who say that it is just as sweaty as COD is, and even if you were to say there's no skill-based matchmaking, if it's still just as sweaty, then that proves that that skill-based matchmaking is ruining the game. All this other garbage is not true. I tried to explain that in another video too. The matchmaking system is not ruining the game. The only thing that's bad about skill-based matchmaking is if you are, high enough KD, you have really good stats, not only are you going to get put with other players on your same level, it's going to make your ping shittier over time because it has to find players that, are actually good enough to compete with you. That's the only reason that it would suck. But in terms of it ruining the entire game, that makes absolutely no sense. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.